Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Meditation. My name is Ken Latterud. I'm your mindfulness meditation guide for today. What a wonderful day. I've never seen this day before. That's a quote from Maya Angelou. Isn't that a good quote? What a wonderful day. I've never seen this day before. Emphasizing what a great thing it is to be alive and present and existing in the world and experiencing your reality. Well, I'm here today to talk about a concept called change or transition. I want to talk about embracing and navigating change and transition. So constantly, the main focus of our life, the main operating procedure is change, right? There's nothing more constant than change. My old buddy, my Greek philosopher buddy, Heraclitus from way back in ancient Greece, 500 years before Christ, said, a man never crosses the same river twice. Different man, different river. So everything is in a constant change of flux. And the Buddha also talked about impermanence, right? He spoke about that a lot, and about suffering, or the Pali word dukkha, suffering. And because life is in a constant state of decay or impermanence, mental and material realms are in a constant state of entropy or being changed. And that's an interesting thing to think about because we all face change, don't we? We face change whether we're in a career change or a relationship change or a health change, financial changes. So they're kind of built into life. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about how to navigate those changes in a mindfulness meditation way. So I want to offer today 3 tips to help us navigate change. And the 3 tips are mindfulness, acceptance, and mindset. So the first tip, mindfulness. Mindfulness just means bringing awareness to the present moment experience without thinking about the past or the future, and having a sense of equanimity or balance or poise through struggle or through change. So imagine your basement floods and you have a mindfulness approach. You've practiced it and you go, Imagine you lose money in the stock market and you go, Or imagine you lose a loved one. So, like John F. Kennedy said, the best time for planning is on a sunny day to fix the roof. And that's a good thing because that's what meditation does. It helps us prepare for when times are tough. We develop a groundedness or a resiliency so that we can not be overwhelmed by our thoughts of the future, thoughts of the past. We can stay grounded in a centered approach and we can remain equanimous. We can remain centered. And mindfulness meditation is such a useful tool, consistent practice throughout your week to maintain this equanimity. Now, mindfulness is a great tool also to just develop this openness to the essence of who you are. And that's what the Buddha talked about too, was realizing that impermanence is a thing, but being grounded in the true recognition of yourself, the constant that's always there, the true self, the light that's always shining within you, the divinity aspect, if you will, the God aspect, if you will. And I'm not really talking about religion here. I'm talking about the idea that we are aligned with Source when we're centered and not off in a crazy, dysfunctional, chaotic mindset. So the next tip that I wanted to offer is acceptance. Now, my father was an alcoholic, so we were used to the serenity prayer in the home. Now, that serenity prayer was, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a great prayer, isn't it? Especially around the concept I'm talking about today, which is navigating and embracing change. So he overcame alcoholism. And I also had a hard time with a certain concept of change but when I got off the road as a musician, I was faced with this transition from musicianhood to normalcy. And it was very difficult. I had a huge challenge around that idea, in that when I was a musician, I had people applauding for me. And there was constant excitement, constant newness. It was fun. I had travel, I had experiences, I had music, I had my buddies. There was like team flow. And then I got off the road and my identity shifted to one of like ordinariness and mundane qualities. And I had to readjust to the work life kind of the labor force. I had to adjust to that. That was very difficult. And I still have challenges with that idea sometimes, that identity shift. So acceptance was key there. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. So I had to sit and grow with acceptance. And we all face that, don't we? Especially as we get older, we have to face our aging process. We have to face loss. We have to face financial difficulties. We have all kinds of changes we have to accept. So the more we can develop this kind of acceptance quality, the less we'll suffer. I'm sure that all of us will have to learn this idea of acceptance. And acceptance is built into mindfulness, is bringing one's attention to the present moment, not the past or the future, without judgment, accepting life just as it is, not what you think it should be. And that's the key, right? So I love this saying, I wonder what would happen if I just allowed everything in this moment to be just as it is. And you can go around the house saying that line. I grant you permission to do so. So you can say that to yourself too and really give yourself a beautiful hug and a beautiful sense of appreciation and permission. I wonder what it'd be like to accept myself just as I am. And you can sit into that idea, accepting yourself just as you are. Goofy, intellectual, crazy, a little dysfunctional, cognitively impaired, ADHD, obsessive compulsive, and all the things they put in the psychological manuals, all the mental disorders. What if you just accepted yourself for what you are? Wow, what a freeing concept, right? So the third tip that I wanted to share was that of mindset. I'm a mindset coach. So I deal with the psychological aspect of mindset. So I studied Carol Dweck's book. She differentiated two different mindsets, growth mindset, fixed mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that you have abilities and intelligence that can be developed through effort and learning, where a fixed mindset is the belief that you have those qualities, the abilities and intelligence, but they're innate and unchangeable. So growth mindset is where we want to be, right? We can alter our reality through the way we think about things. And I love the idea, just recently, neuroscience has discovered neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change itself through experience. I love that line. The brain's ability to change itself based on experience. And that's what we're doing in meditation. We actively change our brains by concentration. The brain is malleable. It can change. So that's a beautiful concept there. So with mindset, you can adopt optimistic view on change, on transition. And it's kind of like the silver lining story, right? So what's the silver lining in the story there, George? Well, another door closes, another door opens, right? So you can look at that idea that you can recontextualize change, you can reframe change by looking at the scenario and recontextualizing it, reframing it. A perfect example is the story of the caterpillar, right? Now the caterpillar goes through a metamorphosis, it struggles, and suddenly it evolves into this beautiful creature. So we don't know what's on the other side of change. And it can be magnificent. It can be a beautiful thing. You lose a partner, but you gain a new partner around the corner. Or you lose a job and then another door opens and all of a sudden you've got a better job. In a growth mindset, you can adopt the idea that there's something good happening, optimism, with an open heart, and you embrace change. You look toward it with equanimity. I lost a lot of money in the stock market. You know what? I'll make more money. My basement flooded. I'll get it fixed. So you develop this equanimity, this poise that's just kind of like lodged within the concept of mindfulness, simplicity, centeredness, resiliency. And when you're faced with overwhelming feelings or overwhelming thoughts, you have this place to go to, this place that you've nurtured, this place that you've adopted as your main tenet for living in life, your core operating principle. COP, core operating principle. You make it your basis of operation, right? You live your life with this idea that you can remain centered and poised and balanced within life's vicissitudes. Now there's a good word, vicissitudes. So let's practice mindfulness. Let's get into it and get our bodies in shape in preparation for meditation, a nice body scan, some breathing exercises.